Hello, Shoyan here. The area is small, but I'm starting the framing. With this size, I'm hoping my son and I, the two of us, can get it up to the roof without a crane.
Oh, このままで入ってるやん。
ご安全に。
ご安全に。酔っ払っちまうやんけ。
酔っ払うほど飲むなよ。
これ米。塩やけど。
昔からこのセットなの？
本当言ったらこれ普通の米やろ。うん。千枚やな。順番は塩、米、酒と。
これで気温待っていくと。
はい、気を入れたまえ。
No matter how big or small the building is, we always purify it with sake before framing. It's part tradition, part good luck charm. A little insurance policy just in case.
あ、仏間を清めたん。
うまくいきますように。はい。
はい。
ああ、美味しい。ひょっとしてあなたカメラマン？わし一人で。い
や、場合による。
のがこのいい。
I start by installing the columns. I said there are two of us, but my son jumps right behind the camera. So in the end, I'm putting up the columns by myself. If I rock them back and forth, the weight of the columns works them right down into place. With an addition or an extension like this, there are always a few spots where I have to measure the length on the spot, cut it, and fit it in. In the old days, it was standard practice to cut a mortise into the existing column and join the beam with a tenon, what we called sashikuchi. These days, we just double up a new column right next to the old one. That way, the old existing column doesn't carry any load. The new section handles all the weight. This addition connects to the existing building with a shed roof, so the beams parallel to the ridge, called keta, use the full length as is. I only measure and cut the beams perpendicular to the ridge. For any building, you always set the keta first, then the perpendicular beams. There aren't any intermediate beams or anything like that this time. After that, the purlins go on top. The keta are smaller in size because the columns support them at roughly 1 meter intervals. But a purlin spans about 3 meters without intermediate support. So the keta are 150 millimeters and the purlins are 180 millimeters. I would have liked to go 30 millimeters bigger on each, but anything heavier than this is tough to lift by hand. The load capacity is more than enough as it is. This piece is called a purlin, moya in Japanese, and it's what supports the rafters that hold up the roof. If it ran all the way down to the bottom, it would be called a keta instead. Now that the rough shape is together, I secure the hardware. If the hardware isn't properly secured, there will be a gap at the shoulder of the joint, and the plumb won't read true. So I pull everything tight with bolts, U-shaped clamps, and screws first, and then I check the building's lean. If I do it the other way around, check the plumb first and then find a slight gap at the tenon shoulders. Tightening them later will throw it off again. Now that the addition is framed properly, I check the plumb. I only need to check the 3 columns because the corner column was already checked for plumb when I first installed it. Most of the columns are cut to fit snugly, so they're pretty much right on. Even when I do adjust, it's only about 2 to 3 millimeters. But even that much needs to be corrected. Getting it right from the start is what matters.
気持ちこっち側。
気持ちこっち側やろ。ちょっと行くよ。
うん、ほんのちょっと。
はい。来たやろ。
オッケー、バッチリ。
そうだね、高いね。それで、どうや。ちょっと引っ張ってみるな。
オッケー、そこ。
はい、もんで。
打って。
もんで。
打って。
あんで。こっち行くら簡単や。こっち入ればいい。
Now the addition is properly set in position, but one purlin needs to be embedded into the existing wall. I can't put a column under here because it would stick out into the room. Since there's no way around it, I secure it directly to the existing structure. There's a bump out in the existing building where I can't see what's inside. I'm attaching the purlin to that. Once I remove the wall a bit more than usual, I find a beam inside. So I firmly join and secure a post into that beam, set the purlin on top and secure it. Even with timber that weighs several tons, the bearing surface where it rests is usually just 15 millimeters. In this case, I've got about 30 millimeters of bearing for this post and beam. As the purlin sits on this 12 centimeter by 12 centimeter post, it's much sturdier than it looks. Now I installed the rafters, which are the last structural piece. I temporarily screw rafters on both sides first, then measure the length and height from those rafters. It might seem like an inefficient on-site approach, but it's actually the most accurate method. It gives me both the correct height and the right length. This time, I'm using longer screws called tarukik, more of them than necessary. With an addition like this, the rafter overhang can't be decided ahead of time. So I measure and cut the ends after I secure all the rafters. I've already cut the fascia board to the same length as the keta. So I first installed the fascia board, then the barge boards on the sides. Fascia boards cover the exposed rafter ends. Hanakakushi in Japanese, literally nose hiders. They align the rafter ends and reinforce the eave edge. Even under heavy snow, the load doesn't hit each rafter individually. It gets distributed so the rafter ends don't break. That's really the biggest advantage. Since this isn't a traditional Japanese style, soffit will be installed and it can't be fitted without a fascia board. Those are the reasons. Fascia goes on the front, barge board along the sloped sides. Even without a fascia board, you always need a barge board. It's there for rain and wind protection and as a decorative element for the house. Without it, the whole thing just looks unfinished. In traditional Japanese-style homes, they used to put a lot of care into the barge board. Some had multiple slopes on top for water drainage, and the more elaborate ones even had geggyo hanging from them. The most important part for a metal roof is installing a firm framing board above the fascia board and barge boards. Some builders take shortcuts and just extend plywood sheeting over the edge. You end up with the same looking finish, but when it rains and water gets in, it rots fast. If you use thick, firm boards made from heartwood, the overhang won't rot. For the roof boards, the sheathing, I'm using 12mm cedar planks. Wood with more heartwood is better for this. On top of that, I installed 12mm waterproof plaster boards. It adds a bit of insulation and soundproofing. The roofer showed up right on time too. They laid the roofing felt, and with that, the roof is done. No more worrying about leaks. With the roof finished, I installed the wall sheathing. I only put up the structural shear wall panels for now. I installed the studs first, and then these panels go on in place of diagonal bracing. The problem with this addition is that there's no sliding glass door or large window, but only small windows. Since there's no way to get inside, I just installed the shear wall panels for now and called the framing done. Now the shape of this 9 square meter addition is finally together. The shear walls are in, so it can handle the wind just fine. The window areas are still open, closing them would block entry. So framing is complete at this stage. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.